Welcome back to KC Talks EV. A couple of months ago, I actually spoke to someone at Octopus Energy at Everything Electric London 2024. If you want to go have a look at that video, I have actually left it up here so you can go have a look at it. Now, Octopus Intelligent Go is essentially a tariff that gives Octopus access and control of your home charger, and in exchange you get two key bits. First of all, you get access to 6 hours at 7 pence per kilowatt hour. But the other thing is you also get the scope for if, for example, the carbon intensity or the amount of carbon emissions per kilowatt hour is fairly low, is you get additional time for your off-peak charging, but also your house as well. And I decided it was a very good opportunity to put my money where my mouth is and actually switch on to Octopus Intelligent Go and let you know of my first month or so on Octopus Intelligent Go. So you might be asking now, what's the benefit for Octopus? And the major advantage is grid balancing. There are two situations in which grid balancing actually affect the grid. So first of all, if, for example, there isn't a lot of renewables online, and unfortunately we are still not at that sort of capacity level yet, we have to rely on things like gas turbines. We're not really relying on coal. As of September 2024, the last coal-fired power station is basically going offline, but essentially we have to rely on gas. This is obviously still, somewhat better than using, standard petrol and diesel, but we really should be reducing the amount of carbon emissions. The other place where grid balancing helps quite a lot with the grid is actually on the opposite end. So this is where we've got an abundance of renewables. At that particular moment, because we don't have that much control, your car might actually be charged at that particular point in time. Therefore, when we end up with the abundance of renewables, for example, in the night or at certain times during the day, we can't actually use that. And we actually have to pay these generators curtailment fees, or basically we have to pay to get these providers not to produce electricity, which in my honest opinion is the stupidest thing that I've ever heard, but that's kind of how the grid works at the moment. The best thing about Octopus Intelligent Go is that it kind of avoids those two situations. If, for example, you plug in and it turns out that it's very carbon intensive, Octopus's Kraken AI will not actually set up a charge. Likewise, if you, for example, plug in and it knows that we're expecting abundance of renewables, it will actually schedule the charge for them and potentially give you an additional slots of off-peak rates, and your whole house can benefit from that. As I mentioned before, I was actually on E.ON's NextDrive V3 tariff, and this is in no way a critique of E.ON's NextDrive V3. I actually think it's a very, very good tariff, and there are certain situations in which you should actually go for E.ON's NextDrive versus Octopus Intelligent Go. But here are two advantages that I've come across at least. The first one is actually you get a much cheaper peak rate of electricity. So that's after 5:30 in the morning and before 11:30 at night. This should give you an advantage, especially if you are using some peak electricity. So you might be using, for example, ovens or air fryers and things like that, and all combined will probably exceed 3.6 kilowatt in my case. And therefore I do use a small amount of peak electricity. And by going onto Octopus Intelligent Go, that small amount of peak electricity is certainly a lot cheaper. The other thing I probably should mention is that the standard variable rate is actually 21.22 pence per kilowatt hour for the Yorkshire region, and both E.ON's NextDrive and Octopus Intelligent Go is more than the SVT tariff. What this means, therefore, is if you are a very low mileage EV driver, for example, or you have to use electricity in the peak rate, you might be better off actually just staying on your standard variable rate tariff for both. Octopus Intelligent Go, you only have to use about 6.5% of your electricity off peak in order to be better than the standard variable rate tariff. And with E.ON's NextDrive, you have to use close to 33% of your energy off peak. Now, for most people with electric vehicles, bear in mind you have to have an electric vehicle in order to have E.ON's NextDrive or Octopus Intelligent Go. Probably using a lot more electricity off peak anyway, so this probably doesn't matter too much. The other advantage is that because you get electricity at the off peak half an hour earlier, I have found it a little bit easier to coincide it with a few other load shifting bits and pieces as well. I know that a lot of people have things like timers and things like that, but having it half an hour earlier means if I'm still awake, I can put on, for example, a second load of washing or something like that, and it just allows me to load shift a bit better in my household. So I am going to address the elephant in the room, which is in order to get onto Octopus Intelligent Go, you need to have either a compatible charger or alternatively a compatible car. This isn't an easy way to get it on a table. I do remember someone in the comments section of the Octopus video talking about this, and no, there is not a table for this. And I have a feeling the reason why is because it's more complicated to use than, for example, a drop-down menu with your car and a drop-down menu with your charger, and to work out whether you are able to access Intelligent Go. I have started to look through all the information and put it into a big spreadsheet, but I would still highly recommend to use the website anyway, just to do the final check. The other thing I should mention is that car integration is, it's not every single car can utilize Octopus Intelligent Go. In my case, my MG cannot. And in fact, actually, when I've been starting to compile the list, it even is different in comparison to manufacturers. I would always recommend that you use the website. I am slowly starting to build a spreadsheet. Hopefully that will help people who want to go down that route. So the big question is, have I actually saved any money going to Octopus Intelligent Go? The answer on a straightforward basis is yes, but it is very, very, very slight. But essentially, if you look at the 24 days, it turns out that the average pence per kilowatt hour I paid was 10.8 pence per kilowatt hour for Intelligent Go, and it would be 11.3 pence per kilowatt hour for Eon's Next Drive. If you need, for example, more hours, obviously Eon Next is going to be better. If, for example, you need the higher export rate, Eon Next is going to be better. But if you like the idea of the technology behind it, if you like the idea of getting additional slots as well, to manage your carbon emissions or carbon intensity on charging and things like that, then obviously, Octopus Intelligent Go is one of those sort of things. So I think that is pretty much it. If you found this video informative or you liked the video, please like it, dislike it if you didn't. Leave a comment below to let me know what tariff you are currently on as of now, and whether or not you would consider one of these EV tariffs. But I think that is pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and talk to you later.